HBCU game day, Vaughn Wilson here in Tallahassee, Florida, where while the search for the head coach is going on for football, there's been quite a bit stirring in the area of bowling and FAMU's bowling team. With It started with a social media post by Shamoria Johnson last week, talking about how she was dismissed from the FAMU bowling team, and then her teammates who came to her aid were dismissed as well, and some of the players disbanded. Since then, FAMU Athletics has made a statement that all of the young ladies received their aid, but I was contacted by a friend of one of the bowlers, Alexis Sturk, who says maybe not exactly. And so joining me today is Alexis Sturk, as well as Maja Olay. She is the mother of Francesca and Annabelle Olay, twins that were on the team. And Alexis's daughter, Amelia Sturk, was also on the team. And pretty much the team has been disbanded. Alexis, I'd like you to start from your experience. You know, we briefly talked, and you had not the greatest experience since the arrival of the new head coach of FAMU Bowling.
Not at all. It's been one thing after another since she's came on. The girls have expressed their problems, had their discomfort, everything with the AD, with the sports administrator, with the coach herself, and nothing ever changed. She constantly belittled them, scoffed at them, made fun of them, just things you would never expect a coach to do to any team, let alone a D1 team.
Wow. And Maja, you have also expressed issues that Francesca and Annabelle, I'm sorry, had expressed to you their issues with the bowling team since the arrival of the new coach.
Yes, absolutely. From the very beginning, the girls were expressing concerns regarding her behavior. She was extremely condescending towards them. She was just rude, to say the least, to the girls. And I wanted to know because before she came on and became the head coach. We had Karen Brown. When I first met her, she was extremely welcoming, and she assured us that the girls were in good hands, which made me feel very comfortable. But with this new coach, it was the complete opposite. First of all, I never received a phone call from her. I tried to reach out to her on several occasions through emails. She never responded. I wanted to introduce myself, just talk a little to get to know who she was. But she made it very clear to the girls that she does not talk to parents. That's one of the things that she made very clear. She did not want any parents to contact her, calling her, emailing her in any way, shape, or form. She told them that they are adults, so there was no reason for her to be talking to the parents. So that made me feel very uncomfortable. And just from the very beginning, her attitude was extremely negative all around.
And so after the incident where she dismissed Shamoria, and another administrator informed the young ladies that if they left, they would be taken off of the team as well. How did both of the young ladies, how did all three of the young ladies react to you all? What did they tell you? And I'll start.
Go ahead, Maja.
Okay.
No,
either one.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I got a text message
Can you hear
at
me?
work. Yes, I can hear you. I got a text message from Amelia when I was at work. Said, "Mom, they just kicked Mo off the team and we all quit. I hope you're not mad." That was how I found out.
Okay.
And then, of course, when I was able to, I took a break and called her and got the whole story. And wow.
And Maja, how did yours go?
I actually was getting off work, and Annabelle called me. She was very upset. She was crying. She says, "Mom, you won't believe what just happened." And she says, "I know Francesca was not at practice that day. She wasn't feeling well, or she had an exam of some sort. But Annabelle was at practice, and she says, 'Mom, Shamoria was let go The coach had called her into a meeting and literally told her she was a cancer to the team and her services were no longer needed. And I couldn't believe what she says, Mom, it happened so fast, and in the manner in which it happened, it got us really upset. So Amelia and I, we decided, okay, well, if you're letting her go, we all going through the same issues with you. There's no need for us to stay there. And the girl just packed up and left. And I believe as they were leaving, it's either, what was his name?
It was Breon.
Breon shouted behind him and says, if you guys walked out, you would be kicked off the team as well.
Okay. And so in response
So
to
that's what
all of this,
happened.
and so in response to this, when Shamoria made her post, the FAMU Department of Athletics made a release. And the release basically said that they were within their rights of the NCAA's rules and those type of things. And I think that's when we really got the information about what was going on, and when someone connected me with Alexis. And so, you know, as a parent that sends your kid to a university, expecting them to play their sport to further their educations, bowling is the highest academic team in FAMU Athletics. So obviously the young ladies were very concerned and very good as far as academics go. I mean, what was your reaction to that, where you expected to send your children there and have a great experience in, and now they're calling stressed out?
I was shocked. Well, being that we had been experiencing a lot of the issues prior with Capri, we had emailed, texted, messaged both Capri and the AD. None of our emails, specifically my emails or my messages, were never answered. The text were never replied to. It's as if all concerns were not being heard, or they just didn't care. And it was difficult as a parent to watch your kids going through the stresses that they were going through, where the academics were being affected by what was going on. I know one of my daughters, Annabelle, she had a couple of breakdowns, mental breakdowns, because she did not want to leave the school. They transferred from Delaware State University to FAMU, and they were extremely excited to play, and they developed such a rapport with the girls, and they developed a really beautiful friendship. And when all this was happening, I could see in their behaviors when they came home how depressed they were and what was going on. Again, before the winter break, I reached out again to the AD. Nothing at all. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see it came down to this, where the girls were not able to remain in school, even if they were kicked off the team. And then they had their scholarship taken away, and illegally at that, because they didn't sign any papers at all. They just decided to dismiss them altogether. So now the girls had no choice but to come home because they couldn't afford to pay for their classes or their room.
And Shamoria, you know, she indicated that their scholarships were taken, but the release from FAMU Athletics says their scholarships were being honored. Alexis, you responded to that email when it was posted. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm very curious as to when their scholarships were unrevoked, because they had revoked them the day they didn't have. They were all enrolled in class for the spring semester. All three of the girls were. Yes. All of them got a bill that said, "Pay this be prior to classes starting." Amelia is still getting a bill for a dorm room that she checked out of before semester began. I don't know when the scholarship was reinstated, because at the beginning of the semester they had no scholarship.
And is that your experience as well, Maja?
Yes, absolutely. I was shocked, because I didn't know what to say to them. I didn't know what to do, because obviously I don't have that kind of money to pay for them personally. And I really thought perhaps they were being kicked off the team, but they would get their financial aid. They would be able to continue for the semester because they had registered for all their classes. And in the end, talking to their advisors and all that, they were told no, the scholarship was revoked. They had gotten emails stating that the scholarship was revoked. They were no longer part of the team. So the girls, we sat down, we talked about it, and came to the conclusion that they could no longer stay at FAMU
So
because there was no way.
so you all got official emails that their scholarships were in fact revoked.
Yes.
The girls. Yeah.
Yes. So they had to drop all the classes, even though they had already registered.
And so today, what are all the young ladies doing? You know, as of today, what are they doing now?
Well, working. They applied for jobs, and Francesca, I think she wants to go. She had already had an interview at Kaiser University because it's really close to home, and she can take some classes online. And Annabelle's just mentally broken because they had recently lost their father. This the 15th of this January was the first year since he passed away. When all of this was playing out, the girls were going through a lot of mental anguishes as well, losing their dad, and Capri known all about it. In fact, the AD, the day their father passed away, they had a tournament in Alabama. She's the one who drove the girls home when they arrived on campus. So she knew what was going on all the entire time, and which was even more of a shock to me, the way she was behaving toward them. And some other parents who didn't know what was going on stated that my girls were using their father's death as an excuse for their behavior, not knowing exactly what was going on. The treatments they were getting from Capri, she was extremely dismissive. The girls at one incident wanted to come home on a weekend because I was going through it. I was really mentally, I was extremely depressed, and I had asked the girls if they could come home just for one day, just for the weekend, and that didn't go too well with Capri because she stated to them that in so many words that bowling comes first. Bowling came before family. Bowling came before their schooling. She made that very clear to them. So the girl's like, nope, I gotta go home. Just this weekend, I want to go home to be with my mom, if that's okay. She refused them. And I guess she had a conversation with the AD and told her that the girls had lost their dad, and that's the reason why they needed to go home to be with their mom. And then that's when she actually agreed for them to come home. So it was just a lot of things going on. Like their personal lives meant nothing to her at all, not her or the AD. So it was, we went through it with the department. We reached out to so many different people, letters, emails, like I stated before, they all went unanswered throughout the whole time.
So there was no feedback when you tried to express your issues or your situation at the university?
No, none. In fact, they had a tournament here in Orlando, and I went there, saw Capri, try to make eye contact. She never, not one time, made eye contact with me. Did not want to introduce herself, did not introduce herself to any of the other parents either. So she had a really standoffish attitude towards us parents for some reason.
Well, Alexis, do you have any final thoughts? You know, when people, you know, on the outside have no idea of this whole situation, and you know, what are your final thoughts on this?
You know, my daughter transferred to another school. She immediately entered the portal as soon as she had been wanting to already, and that was the nail in the coffin for her. The multiple panic attacks, the complete disrespect, one thing after another, it never changed for them. And that is pathetic on the university side for allowing that to happen. Myself and Maja definitely sent at least 10 emails. We included each other. We sent them individually, anything that we could do. I even sent an email to Breon that explained how this was harnessing their mental health, included screenshots from a conversation with Amelia that said, I can't take this anymore. She's broken me. She broke me down. They got what they wanted.
Yes.
And it meant absolutely nothing.
Yes. I can
Maja?
second that. I can totally second that because I had the girls calling me crying. At one point, Francesca says, Mom, could you please come to the school? I cannot take it anymore. She says, Mom, if I go to one more practice, because it was so redundant, they were doing the same thing over and over. They were not improved in anything at all. And Capri, she made it absolutely clear she didn't want input from anybody. She says, always, I'm a coach. What I say goes. I don't need to hear from you. I don't need to hear what you have to say. She had such a power trip, this young lady. Not only is she the girl's age is, they are the same age, first of all, inexperience in the field. That was her first job out of college. So she did not want input from anybody. And that was another thing that was extremely nerve-wracking and upsetting with this whole situation. The girls would cry, and sometimes I would say, well, won't you guys just quit? Come home. Come home. Says, Mom, we don't want to disappoint the rest of the team because we were here for a reason. We wanted to be at FAMU. We love the school. We love our teachers and we love being bowlers. But Mom, she's making it so tough, so hard on us to actually want to stay here. She's extremely condescending. She's very childish, to say the least, this young lady, and very rude to us parents. Does not want to talk to anybody. And if you do email her, she shuts everything down and then she takes it out on the girls the following day.
Yeah, that's that part.
Yes. I did a post on Facebook crying out to whomever was willing to listen, because since nobody at FAMU was willing to listen to what we had to say, I did a post breaking down what was going on, and it did get a lot of views and all that. Capri's family came down, literally cursing, threatening me to come to Florida, to beat me up. All sorts of things was happening. So I decided, you know what? I don't want to get my girls in any more trouble than they already were in. So I went ahead and I deleted the post just for their mental sakes at the time.
Wow. That's very
it was bad.
Yeah. That's very unfortunate. And as we say, this was an open forum for you all to express, what Alexis and I got contact through a mutual friend. And, it's at HBCU game day, there's always two sides of the story, and we had not heard the side from the parents. We had heard from Samoria. We saw the response from the athletics department, but I think this kind of completes the circle and completes the loop to hear from the actual parents of the student athlete bowlers who were actually affected by this situation. So, ladies, I thank you both for coming on and sharing this insight so that people are aware of the rest of the story.
Absolutely, that this story needs to be heard, and people need to understand that the girls are not crybabies as they had been described to be or called out to be babies. They were going through it mentally. Francesca had a major nervous breakdown sitting in her car in the parking lot, crying her eyes out. I had to drive from Orlando, and I left that morning directly just to be there with her, because she had gotten to that boiling point where she was thinking, her thought process was a little bit concerning. So I'm like, listen, honey, it's really not worth it. It's not worth you going through all this breakdown because of bowling, of this, what this coach is putting you through. The best thing to do is just, you know what? They revoked her scholarship, just come home, because even at the last minute, she was hoping that her financial aid would drop and she would be able to stay for the semester. But unfortunately, that is not what happened. We were not able to stay, and I went there and picked them up, and now they are home.
Okay. And final words, Alexis?
I think that a lot of the problem was a jealousy issue. You had 5 girls on a team that were completely bonded. They did everything together, whether they were bowling, going to a basketball game, hanging out in their dorm room. They were together every day, all the time. if they were not in classes. And I think that was an intimidation factor to a coach that's their same age. You came into a team that was completely bonded. They're, you know, they met each other at school and they were each other's lives. They did everything together. So that I think was intimidating to her, and her way to handle that was to be an iron fist and not try to, I don't know, have any kind of functioning relationship with them, if that makes any sense at all.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
She never tried to bond with those girls. She
No.
never ever tried to get to know any of the girls. It was my way or the highway. I guess she had gotten, I have no idea who put her up to this, but to me, coming into a school, a new team of young girls, young ladies, they're not children. And I think you as a coach, your job is to get to know your team. Your job is to connect with them, is to develop a rapport with your girls. I think that would have made things a lot easier, not just for her, but the team in general. The fact that when they are together, she would not talk to them. She never gives them any directives at all. It's as if she set them up to fail at every tournament. They couldn't say anything to her. When they actually were done playing, going out, it was where she wanted to go eat. The girls could not suggest anything anywhere else to eat. And then when they do go to those places, she would not sit with them. She would not have a conversation with them. And she was always rushing them, even though they had nothing else to do but to eat and go back to the hotel. She would rush them 15 minutes to go, but nobody could understand why they were being rushed. We were just going back to the hotel. The environment that this woman created for those girls it was extremely toxic. And there's no way anybody in their right mind would survive this. They could not survive Capri Howard. No way, no how.
Well, all right. Well, Maja and Alexis, I thank you both so much for sharing your story. The story first broke with Shamoria's social media post. It was picked up by Roland Martin and Unfiltered. And for those who are just seeing this part first and trying to put it together, Roland said he got a tip from Off Script, and it's been documented there. And this is a piece, another piece to the puzzle. Talking actually to the parents who experience the disconnect and the disbanding of the FAMU bowling team. So once again, we thank you all. Thank you, ladies. We really thank you for joining us and giving us the information. And for HBCU Game Day, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.